don't know what how many we've done now.
This will be the third or fourth accessible free episode.
Yeah, come back in. There you go.
This will be our fourth episode, I think, or third. And we've also got a few episodes up on Patreon as well now.
Hopefully no one has complained about the sound. How do you think that is?
I think the sound honestly sounds great. I think
So
this is
with
the
the window
most
open?
professional. No, the window, you can't hear a single thing. It's a lovely flat air outside.
Flat air.
Yeah, we've been very professional. Look at this setup. Look at us.
I mean, the only thing is half your head is out there, but if you went, there we go. Yeah.
That's fine.
You look nice.
You look nice.
Thanks.
Your tattoos look really cool. I was
Thanks.
admiring this one when you were lifting it
This
up
one?
a second ago. It's actually crazy how cool that one is.
Thanks. It still hasn't healed. This is my
Yeah.
midlife crisis.
Yeah, when you showed me that first and it was like, I didn't realise that it was a red tattoo, I genuinely did feel like, I was like, oh, Jessie, you've got a giant gash in your arm. That's fucking crazy.
I didn't mean for her to fill it all in red.
So you wanted it to be an outline?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So why don't you just say stop?
Because I did say to her initially fill it in, but then I thought she was doing the legs, but she had started filling it in already, so I was too late. She wasn't the best, but she was friendly, I'll give her that.
They're really cool, all of them
Yeah,
together.
thank you.
You're
Yeah.
becoming a patchwork queen.
I
You're
am.
very Zoe Kravitz of you. She's got lots of
She's
little
my
tattoos.
inspo. She's
She
my
is your
inspo.
Yeah, exactly.
We've talked about her. Fucking love her.
No, we do. We're obsessed with Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah. Kravitz.
Kravitz.
We're going to talk about animals, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the thing is, people say to me that people who know me know that I'm definitely not an animal person.
Yeah.
Do you think that you read like an animal person?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I
don't think they do. You do.
I am an animal person. I love animals.
Do you touch dogs?
All the time.
Really?
All the time. I love dogs.
I've never seen you touch a dog.
I love cats so much. Cats are my number one. Love dogs. Love birds. I would love a parrot. Or I would love a raven. Because ravens are actually very intelligent and very affectionate. If you train
Just come to Harry Potter convention, you'll see so many ravens.
Exactly.
They're always taking the birds around. I find it quite sad.
I would love to be able to just lift out my arm like this and then for a falcon to just land on it.
I went for a walk around Marble Arch the other day and I saw a woman standing there. Her friend was filming her and she was just holding out her arms and pigeons were on her arms.
Yeah. That's
Do you
cool.
see that?
Yeah. Well, you can do that. You can do that a lot in Hyde Park. If you hold a peanut up, a green parakeet will come and sit on your hand.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
You've done that?
Yeah.
When? This is incredible.
Yeah.
Secret little bird caller.
And also, it's so interesting, isn't it, about the green parakeets in London? These different theories about why they've populated. The idea that they've escaped from the zoo, the idea that they've escaped from a rich person's collection, or like a celebrity. Like, who was the person that said it was like one of Led Zeppelin or something? Apparently, it might have been from their private collection of parakeets. But the idea, I think that they should make like a Pixar animation short about that, about like these little two green birds that decide to break out from this like rich celebrity's house and then they end up populating.
It was Ealing Studios, though. It was a film at Ealing Studios.
Really?
That's how they came.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
I thought that nobody was super clear on exactly how that
Oh, I
happened.
might be wrong, but I thought it was a film at Ealing Studios. They brought some birds over to film.
Yeah.
And they escaped.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Ealing, God, anything goes there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Full of
Now very bougie.
retrogrades. That's not a word.
Is-
Reprobates.
Is bougie the right word? When it's like cool. What's bougie?
Bougie means it's like a little bit sort of fancy.
It's got a Gales now.
Yeah, that
It's
makes
got
sense.
a Gales. It's got a Wagamama. It's got a Pret.
No more fucking Coffee Republic.
No. R.I.P.
R.I.P.
You couldn't pay me to move back to Ealing.
No. Ealing haunts me now. Ealing really, really haunts me now.
Yeah.
But then that's just because, it's association, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just think about like how you were at that time as a teenager, as a child or whatever, and you're just like, But Ealing's probably a lovely place.
Oh, it's lovely.
West London just fills me with a bit of sadness. I don't know why.
I really, really dislike
It's my
it.
least favourite quadrant.
Yeah.
But we were talking about animals.
We're talking about animals. So we're moving out of London, and the promise of moving out of London was that Alfie could finally get a dog, because we've lived in flats for, a decade together. And where we live right now, you can't have dogs. So and it's always just been so far away, the idea of moving and getting a dog. And now it's kind of coming. I think the condition for having Becca, in a way, was that we would get a dog. along with many other conditions. But he's always joked that we get a giant schnauzer.
Yeah.
Because they're the only hypoallergenic. He wants a big dog. There's no getting away from the fact that we're going to get a big dog.
Big dogs are friendlier. Big dogs are like better for children and stuff like that in a way because they're slightly dumber, I think, and therefore they're just like so much more loving.
Yeah.
Smaller dogs live longer, but they are like more aggressive.
And they
like,
yap.
And they're more yappy.
Yeah.
That's at least like the general understanding. It could be completely wrong, but
I'm not exaggerating or lying when I say this, but I think I probably stroked in my life maybe 2 dogs.
And you're going to get a giant schnauzer and you really think that that's going to go well?
No. So the giant schnauzer is the only one that we're actually fully compatible with, because we need one that we're so desperate to get a good dog, and I so want them to be happy, and they are so elated by this prospect.
Yeah, and all of the kids are so good with dogs as well. Anytime that we hang out with dogs, they're just like amazing with them.
Donnie is incredible with dogs in particular, but so I'm actually even coming around to the idea of not a hypoallergenic one that sheds, but there are certain shedding ones that's just way too much hair. And we watch videos almost every night about dogs and what we're compatible with and how much shedding there is involved, how you wash a dog. And there is actually a really limited number of dogs that we would be able to get. One that I do like, we're also obsessed with this program called The Dog House, which is it's kind of a reality TV show where a dog place, they have like rehome dogs, and they get families in or people in and assign them the right dog for them, and usually the family has quite a sad story or a specific story, like one of their dogs died and they're looking for a replacement dog for their remaining dog, or maybe somebody has died in the family and they want like a grief dog, or it's a really lovely show. And the dogs that you see on that, I saw one the other day called a lurcher. Lurchers are the running dogs, you know, the ones that they race.
Are they like the mini versions of a greyhound? They're like a slightly smaller greyhound, and they're apparently lovely.
Like the one, like Santa's Little Helper.
Yeah.
So a shaggy lurcher.
In Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Santa's Little Helper.
That could be appropriate for us.
I think a lurcher would be great for you. You kind of look like a lurcher.
I could, exactly, because, you know, the Afghan hound.
Yeah.
Like, I am an Afghan hound, but obviously I think a lurcher is like a skinny Afghan hound, or a hairless
Afghan hound. And Afghan hounds are supposedly the stupidest dog. If you look at the dog intelligence rankings, I think Afghan hounds might be right at the bottom.
It suits me.
They walk into walls and stuff like that. But also they can't see because they've got too much hair.
So a lurcher, a Labrador is a no-go, because Alfie's dad had a Labrador, and Alfie's got a really sad story about their Labrador, because apparently Labradors love tennis balls. So they swallow them all the time and die. And you can only have so many operations on getting the tennis balls out. And
Bloody hell.
It's really sad.
I think something that's an interesting factor to take into when you're thinking about getting a pet is it's not a short-term commitment, is it? Like, this is an animal that's going to live for a decade. It's going to be a huge part of your children's lives. It's going to define a portion of their childhood and adolescence. It's going to like be a member of the family. So making a decision like this can't be like you do have to properly consider, you know, what it is that you want in a dog, and you can't give it back. But at least we had cats when we were sort of growing up that our mum did give away, but I was so stupid that until I was genuinely an adult, I didn't realise that she didn't give them away to a farm. I truly thought that she gave them away to our friend that lived on a farm and that they were living a happy life. I didn't realise that she gave them away to a dog and cat's home because our brothers were so allergic to them. They were some kittens from a friend of mine's cat had some kittens, and we decided to take 2 of them, which was very out of character for the family. I do accept that. And we called them Toph, after the blind girl in Avatar, Legend of Aang, and Bowie, after David Bowie. And they would just fight constantly, rip up the house, and everyone was super, super allergic to them. So
I don't remember that.
You don't remember at all?
I remember the cats. Yeah. I just don't remember them called. I now you say Toph, I remember, because I remember thinking that's such a shit name. I don't remember Bowie.
It might have been Powie. It was Powie instead of Bowie. But yeah, we had them for a little while and it just wasn't working out. And I just think, I can't believe that we actually gave them away to a farm. I hope they're okay now.
There's so much cat hair. There was still so much cat hair for years after.
That's true.
But the thing is, Donnie is quite allergic to lots of things. He's got, quite severe allergies. So I'm really worried, because if we buy a dog and then he's allergic to it and they fall in love with it and then we have to give it away. So I don't know how there must be a system to hire a dog to get used to their allergies or allergens.
No, you just have to get a hypoallergenic dog. That's your only option.
He's been around non-hypoallergenic dogs and he's been fine. Mm-hmm. So it is a real risk. I don't know what to do.
I guess you just have to maybe look on forums for what are the best dogs for children that have allergies for these types of things.
Yeah, we've looked, but none of those dogs they want. So it's really a really limited number of dogs. So giant schnauzer is genuinely one of the only ones we can get.
Which is the hypoallergenic. Mm-hmm. I just wonder if you will genuinely not be able to cope with having a giant schnauzer in the house.
I like we joked that like when we had Becca, Alfie was like, well, I'm done with nappies. And he's obviously changed nappies, but I will not be doing any dog looking after.
Yeah.
Like I would take it for a walk, definitely. If I have to, I don't think I'll ever go on a dog walk alone.
You don't know, Jessie. You could transform overnight. You could become a dog person.
I could, but I'm just not going to pick up the shit. I'm sorry. I can't do that. I was even thinking that like, they pick it up with a bag. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not picking up a shit.
Well, if you're getting a giant schnauzer, you realise you're going to be getting giant shits.
It doesn't work. Apparently doesn't work like that. Apparently the shits are the same for any dog.
Really?
Well, I don't know that. Somebody said that to me to make me feel better, I think.
I think that they did. I think that you're going to find it really difficult. But I also think that with the difficulty will come this incredible, like, new aspect to your life. And I genuinely think you're such a caring maternal person. You'll love your dog because it'll be your dog.
Well, weirdly, I went to Barry's Boot Camp the other day and they have a dog in there. And the second I got in, I sat down on the sofa because I was early. And a dog just came up to me and put his whole body against my thigh and just stayed there. And I felt touched. I was just like, I was tingly because it was like, oh, he doesn't hate me. And I think it's because I've never had a good experience with a dog that I just assume that all animals hate me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I've not had good experience with a dog. I mean, I have a giant scar on my back.
Yeah, it's not a giant scar.
It is.
It's tiny.
It's pretty noticeable.
That is a tiny little scar, but it still was. I can imagine it's probably shrunk over time.
It's shrunk over time, and it's like, I'll never have a perfect back. I'll never have a perfect back photo, will I?
That's lowest down. You could still have from up here a perfect back photo.
Yeah, but if I always wanted to wear like a backless dress.
Everyone has weird shit on their back.
I know, it's weird and it's really soft as well. Anyway, our uncle's Alsatian thought I was a big fat rabbit when I was a little chubby toddler and bit me.
What? But I'm really, because one of the top dogs they want is a German Shepherd, and I think a German Shepherd is an Alsatian.
Yeah.
That's one of the top dogs they want.
Oh, God.
But that's highly shedding.
I think I would feel a little bit triggered by that if you had a German Shepherd, to be honest. I don't think that you can do that.
That they are the cutest puppies of all puppies.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe if I met it as a puppy, I would be able to grow into it. But I love dogs. I really, really do love dogs. I love the big, stupid ones. I love the fact that they put their face in your lap. But you do smell, and your house will smell, and you just have to accept that. Unless you are so meticulous about washing its paws every time that it comes in the house.
Yeah, I'm going to hose it down every time it comes in.
But then it's going to shake all the water off.
And I'm getting a female dog because I'm not having a dog dick in my house. Like, can you imagine? I'm sorry, every time I see a massive dog dick, I'm like, how is everyone not talking about this the whole time?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why am I turned on right now?
Alfie, we can't get a male dog. I will fuck it.
Look, I'm not going to lie. Every time I see the videos of the big silverback gorillas, I'm sort of like... There's this one video of this gorilla, and he's like... That's shameful. I really shouldn't have said that out loud. No, but genuinely, there's this one video, and it has this song playing behind it where it's like, I'm a bad boy, I'm a bad... And it's like, he starts walking on his hind legs, and it's so sexy. Genuinely. Because they don't give a fuck, and they are truly masculine.
Oh, yeah. So,
don't let me have a pet gorilla. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Wow, that's really funny.
Yeah.
I would just be distracted the whole time by looking at the dick. I would.
Also, have you seen when a dog is when a dog has an erection? It's really gross. It's like a little red lipstick. That's what.
Hang on a second. When a dog is neutered,
yes,
do they chop off the dick?
I don't know. No, they chop off the balls. They get rid of the dog's balls, right?
This is how little I know.
This is how little we both know. We are fucking clueless. They get rid of the dogs. When they neuter an animal, they get rid of its ability to reproduce, right? And that comes from the balls. So
they chop off the balls?
I think so.
No, I'm sorry. This is what we need to have a female. And obviously we need to have...
Then what? You're going to let the female dog have puppies then?
Yeah.
And then what? So be separated from all of her children? Then you have to go through the pain of her having to breastfeed all of those puppies and then all of them getting taken away from her.
No, but we'll allow her to keep one. Because then she then knows what it's like to be a mother and keep one.
I think that you would do really well with a pregnant dog. Like, you would be very connected.
Yeah.
In fact, it could be like really fun because it
and
would be
you
like
make some money. I could become Cruella.
It's just so funny, the idea that like thinking this far ahead in the future, and it's like, I truly, the first time that you're around that dog, I need to be there. I need to see how much you actually freak out.
It's gonna be so life-changing.
But it's so good. It shows such growth, and it also shows like such care and love for your children, because you're doing something that's out of your comfort zone. Yeah. And I know that it's gonna make you so happy. Who in this world actually doesn't like dogs when it comes down to it?
Me.
No. You'll love it. And our mum's going to get a dog too, which I think is going to be amazing for her.
That's what I'm most excited about, is seeing her engage with my dog.
And then seeing her dog engage with your dog. And then maybe I'll get a dog too.
Yeah.
Because I can't get a cat, unfortunately. If it was my choice, I would get a cat, but Horatio's sister's very, very allergic to cats. And I thought that it was just like a joke. I thought it was just like a bit. And I did almost get a cat once when I was having a bit of a manic moment. A friend of mine had a kitten. And when he found out that I was that close to it, I mean, I literally went to go visit this kitten and almost picked it up, almost took it home with me, but my friend decided to take it instead. He was so angry at me.
Oh,
he
that's
was like,
when you had that massive fight with Jamie.
Yeah, because I joked about it, and he said, "I'm going to get you sectioned," and I was like, "I'm just getting a fucking cat."
Because he didn't want you to have a kitten.
Well, because he said that it was unhinged behaviour, me saying that I'm just going to get a cat and not telling anyone in the family about it.
That now it feels really weird. That's really weird.
But I went to go visit the cat. It was the most beautiful cat I've ever seen. But now my friend Lizzie has her, and she's called Rosemary, and she's a really, really nice girl, really, really nice cat. She's a hypoallergenic cat because she's a ragdoll. And even though ragdolls have very long hair, they're actually hypoallergenic for some reason, which is kind of strange.
Wow.
But I thought that Horatio's sister was just doing it as a bit, but it turns out no. I talked to them
as a bit.
Yeah.
Like what my bit about me being allergic to what's it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's funny.
It's very funny.
Because we're all funny comedians here. But I spoke to their mum about it, and she was a very cool lady, Lindsay. I genuinely thought she was going to be like, "Oh no, it'll be fine." She was like, "No, you're not allowed to do that." Like, genuinely very serious. And she had to go to hospital once. She was so allergic to cats, and I was like, "Oh well, that's a bit of a downer." Okay.
Oh, it's really sad though, but that's the it's a commitment. You not getting a cat, as it's a commitment. Me getting a dog, I'm proving my commitment to my family and and Alfie.
I always think of that scene in Juno where Alison Janey's character, she talks about the fact that her commitment to the family is shown in the fact that I have loved dogs all of my life, but I can't get one because of your little sister, and she has these allergies. And then the camera pans out, and she's got all of these handmade knitted pictures of dogs, and she's shown her love for dogs in a different way by just having pictures of them. But when you love your children more, you can't do that to them. And I just thought it was such a beautiful moment in that film.
Well, it has been so that, such a catalyst for seeing Donnie with so many dogs over the years, and his delight, and he's just so natural with them, and I just don't want to deprive him of that. I don't want a dog. I don't want to. The only thing I'm quite excited about is living near a park and having to walk it, and I think I will enjoy being out in nature and stuff.
That's what I think. That's what I think you will be surprised by, is that you'll actually love the fact that it forces you outside every day. Plus it's really social, and you can sort of meet other people's dogs and stuff like that. It will be so beautiful for the children that you will love it just by seeing how much they love it.
But also I think it's really good to teach them about life and death. Like, we had to have this chat with them the other day, and we were like, look, if we get a dog, there's no certainty that the dog will be healthy and that the dog will survive for forever, and the dog might die, and you've got to be okay with that. And Donnie was kind of on board with that, but Margot was immediately burst into tears and was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, the dog might die at some point, and we have to be prepared for that. If you fall in love with it, you've got to be prepared for the fact that it also might die. And she was like, no, I know. It was really upsetting.
I know, but it is, that's I think a way that a lot of children do learn about like death, isn't it, through the death of a pet.
Yeah.
I mean, when do you think that Donnie and Margot first learned about the concept of death? How old were they, do you think?
I still don't think they quite grasp it.
Yeah. Even
though we've had 2 deaths this year. I when last year.
I do think that they understand what death is, but they maybe don't realise that it happens to everyone. And that's an interesting thing. When do you, like, in the way that you are allowed to judge when a child is allowed to go out by themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it could be when they're 10 or it could be when they're 13. It depends on the child. You just have to sort of gauge it. But also, when is a person able to grasp the concept of death and it not be something that weighs on them? Because 10, who's only 4, asked me the other day if everyone dies. Yeah. Because we were talking about this magpie that you guys all saw that died, and it was really sad. And when he asked me, I was so sort of, he's such an intelligent, kind of like quite serious at moment child, that I think I tested it out by being like, well, maybe. And he was like, what? And then I was like, no, not everyone dies. Okay, you're not ready for it yet. But it's amazing that even at that age, they're tiptoeing around it. They're curious.
Yeah, you're so curious.
And so it is actually a very responsible thing to do, to introduce them to something that they love, but they also have to accept this is something you don't get to love anything forever. And that's a really healthy concept to teach to children, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I also just think, I mean, whenever we trialed having a pet with these fucking snails.
Snails.
Yeah, so we trialed having some pet snails that they collected on the street, and we started with about 2, and then eventually we went up to about 15. They put it in an old Lego collecting thing, and we kept it on the balcony. And sure enough, I was like, you have to look after these because I am not going to look after snails. And sure enough, within a week, I was looking after snails. I was feeding the snails yeast flakes.
I genuinely don't think I could think of anything that's like less suited to you than like having pet snails.
But you just do it. And it's like, I said to them, I'm not going to do it. And like I said, I'm not going to pick up your clothes. I'm not going to take that plate to the kitchen. You do it. And you always end up doing it.
Yeah.
So I will be picking up dog shit.
You will. This is, in a year's time, on this exact day, at this exact time, you will have the biggest dog shit in your hand.
I'm going to go out with a rubber glove on. Every time I eat shit, I'm going to get the rubber glove on. I'm going to pick the shit up, put it in the bin, and then throw away the rug.
Then think about it like this, like we said in one of our last episodes about, sometimes a good way to look at things is like, what would a cool girl do? Cool girls don't care that they're holding a big bag of shit. They don't care. They're just like, and then it's not a big deal because they're like so cool and elegant about it.
I know, but whenever I see a man or a woman walking around with a dog shit bag,
I do think, you're
holding a shit.
Yeah,
you shit. When did you last shit? Like, are you shitting now?
Yeah,
like, is that your shit?
It's really embarrassing. It is really embarrassing.
You immediately think of them shitting.
Yeah, it's true. At least cats kind of sort themselves out. Like you've got a little litter box, but unfortunately, my friends that do have cats, because they have litter boxes in that, the whole place smells of shit.
Yeah, well, that's the good thing. Apparently, I don't know if Alfie was fucking me with here. You can train the dog to go on the toilet.
Don't they do that in Meet the Fockers? The cat uses the toilet in Meet the Fockers.
Okay.
Yeah, and flushes it itself. I think that's insane and too humanoid, and I don't think that you want the image of accidentally walking in and having to be like, oops, sorry, I didn't realise you were using it.
One thing I'm quite excited about in a really kind of mean way is, obviously, I can't breastfeed the dog. I mean, I'll try, but I can't. And Alfie is going to do all of that training, and I'm quite excited about that.
Wait, sorry. What are you talking about, breastfeed the dog? What do you mean training?
That was obviously a joke about me breastfeeding the dog. I hope you know that. Are you mad?
No, but what do you mean Alfie does the training? Oh, training.
The training,
how to do
like,
tricks.
so it's like having a baby at the beginning,
toilet
apparently.
Training, yeah.
No, not toilet training. Training. You have to sleep train the dog. If you don't train the dog from birth, it's like a whole full-time job.
Yes, and you have to basically have somebody that can kind of mostly be at home for a couple of months when you first get a dog.
You're not allowed to get the dog from certain dog breeders unless you can prove that you don't have a job.
Wow.
So we're the only people that can have dogs.
Exactly.
Always around.
That's really, but I think that will be such a fun challenge as well.
And I'm like, he goes away all the time and be like, but that's why we're going to get a van so we can take the dog in the van. I'm never, ever, ever being on my own with a dog in the house.
It's going to be such a fun chapter, Jessie. I think it's so cool to think about like all of these things that you don't know about yet, but that you're going to be learning about.
But no, it also kind of makes me slightly scared because there's so many wild, like horse people.
Yeah.
Like Devon, my friend Devon on Harry Potter, he has horses. And whenever I see him now like a lot because we're always together at conventions. He's telling me about the horses and his day in the life of the horses. And I'm like, you have a completely different life to anything that I've ever known. And like their day revolves around getting up at sunrise and going to the horses.
Really?
The whole day is looking after these horses.
Horses are amazing.
I find them freaky. Again, I'm kind of like slightly terrified by their dicks.
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, again, it's like,
what the fuck is that?
Why are you looking so sexy? Why are you looking so muscular and sexy?
What's the phrase?
Balls
size queen.
Well. We're fucked up.
So I didn't realise what size queen was until recently. I thought size queen was like I'm curvy.
No, size queens are women that like gigantic dicks.
But is that because they've got giant vaginas? Or is it just because they like big dicks? Because obviously everyone likes big dicks.
Yeah.
So if you're a size queen, is it because you just got a naturally big vagina?
No, I think size queens are people that pride themselves on the fact that they can actually have sex with a giant dick.
Yeah, they can actually handle it.
Because most women, it's too painful, right?
Yeah. Well, you get used to it, I think, eventually. Mm-hmm. But you could end up with a rip and get a tropical virus like I did. It's dangerous, but you can. I think you can. Vaginas do get bigger.
The fact that Jessie got a tropical virus, with like the guy that you'd been in love with for years after the first time you had sex, is genuinely one of the funniest things ever.
But it's also deeply heartbreaking, and I think about it almost every day.
Really?
Yeah, really. If his dick wasn't so big, Anyway, detour. But your vagina does change, and this is what's so freaky. Unless you keep on top of your vagina, like you actually are monitoring it, you could just have a giant vagina by the time you're like 40. You've got to be careful.
Do your Kegels or whatever.
Unless you do, and I've had 4 kids, so I'm actually sometimes I'm quite vigilant about my vagina. I'm constantly checking.
Yeah.
Doing Kegels, it's really it's a job.
It is a job.
It's a job.
Well, being a woman is, it's like
job.
having 2 jobs all the time.
Oh yeah. Hello, Saoirse Ronan.
I do my Kegels right now, actually.
Yeah. The thing is, I can't actually hold the Kegel, so I do the Kegels like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But to do the 1,
no, I can't do the really quick ones. Dun dun dun.
You can't
dun.
do that.
Well, like as in like my it just gets tiring. Whereas
I know,
I can do the long holds and stuff like that.
Do you go straight to hold, or do you go hold?
Everyone watching, do your Kegels right now.
This is a reminder.
1, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4.
No, you don't push out.
No, I know, but like you hold and you let go, right?
You hold, then you let go. But
okay, now I can do the quick ones. Sorry, I think my brain was having a moment where I feel like I was confused.
Squeezy,
I was like, is my vagina broken?
On the Squeezy app, which is what I downloaded when I was pregnant with Margot because I was terrified about my vagina, that I couldn't do because they do the long ones and I just can't hold it for that long. I don't know how.
Well, there's this woman on TikTok that does like a Kegel thing that occasionally pops up and you sort of do it along with her. And sometimes they are so challenging. But she also has that happy face of a woman who has an incredibly strong vagina.
Yeah. They do make a difference.
Smiling.
Because I went trampolining 3 weeks in a row. The first time I went, I almost wet myself. The third time I'd done my Kegels like way more than ever in those 2 weeks. And by third week, I was like going up. I was bouncing away.
Yeah, your cervic floor, I bet, was fucking hitting the ceiling.
Yeah. But it's really, really important.
Mm-hmm. Talking about conventions. You just did a convention this weekend, didn't you, Jessie? How was it?
I did. It was a really nice.
You've been a convention queen recently.
I have. I mean,
you've got a new house.
Got
pipes that you got to pay for.
Lots of pipes. It was really. I mean, I just absolutely love them. I actually would love. Yeah, the main reason I go every time I go, Tan's like, "Can you bring me back a present?" So I bring them back usually Lego because they always have these amazing stalls. But yesterday I stumbled across a amazing stall in the convention centre, which was scrunchies. Obviously perfect for me. So I went and started looking. They had all different themes made from material like Simpsons, Lilo and Stitch, all Disney movies, Toy Story, Harry Potter, everything. And so I chose a couple. And then the people who ran the store started talking to me. And I was crying within 5 minutes of talking to them. They were just amazing. Because basically they had this son who was in a wheelchair. And I noticed him, and then the dad started speaking to me, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I make these all for Milo. That's Milo over there. Milo was born. He was only meant to last 2 hours." They said he said he wouldn't even survive 2 hours, and he's now 12. And we've been making the scrunchies ever since in hospital when we're waiting. And I've learned to crochet, and I've learned to make these amazing paper lanterns, all in different kind of themes: Star Wars, Harry Potter, all this stuff. And I was looking at it was the biggest stall of all of any convention stall I've ever seen. And just thinking about the hours each scrunchie would have, like, to make one little paper lantern for a Christmas tree decoration is 8 hours of his time.
Oh my God.
So I was looking at all of these hours thinking they've lived in hospital. They have 4 kids. Milo is, I think, the 3rd child or the 2nd. And I was just thinking about the family. I started speaking to the mum, and I was like, "Oh, I'll post about them. They're like, "Oh no, we don't do it for that." And I was like, "Well then, what?" And she was like, "Yeah, we do it so that, we do it for the love of it. And we love coming to these, and we don't." And I did try looking them up on social media, and very little, they don't have a business. They have a website, and you can donate. It's Mission for Miles. I'll put the link in the thing. But they raise money. All the money goes to making accessible caravans.
God, that's incredible.
But the family were just amazing, and one of the sons served me, and then they gave it to me for free, and I was like, "No, you I want, please." So stuff like that is priceless. I just can't.
You meet amazing people there.
Just would, and I mean, even just, it's so weird to think, but when you have a buggy, you suddenly realise how difficult it is for people in wheelchairs to get around on the tube in London.
True.
And it's only recently I've realised that, and I've because we live near the Elizabeth line, I've been looking at what stops are accessible and stuff, and to go trampolining I've got to get in the specific stuff. So sometimes I can't take the buggy because I know that, and it's made me think about that more. And at conventions it's really strange, but I see more people in wheelchairs than I see usually, because they make that they're accessible, and it's something that I just find it just makes my mind open up to really how people live with things every day that we don't even really consider.
It's true.
Like having to do the photos with some people and like help them out of their wheelchairs to come and stand up and have the photo. And, you know, I'm like, I just can't even, and they just, one girl, and it was amazing. She was pushed towards me for the photo. And just instinctively, because I'm not very good with like personal, like physical touch and stuff, but I didn't even think about it. And I just held out my arms, and she just took my arms, stood herself up, had the photo, and then I helped her back in the chair. And I was like, that was so intimate. And she just trusted me.
That's lovely.
She trusted me that I was going to help her. And I just felt so privileged. Like, thank you for trusting me to help you into your chair. I'm so like, and the second's gone, you know, because then they're gone. But like, it over the years, it's become so much more of an experience than I could ever have foreseen happening.
You genuinely I feel like you get so much sort of joy really out of being able to engage in fan culture. I feel like Comic-Con and anything associated with like these big sort of nerdy geeky fan sort of cultures, it is such an inclusive place. Like people do find these other worlds, these fantasy worlds where they can escape to maybe being superheroes, especially if they're somebody who lives in a body that doesn't feel like a superhero in some way. I just think it's so beautiful that people are able to come together and embrace this thing that is not seen as particularly cool, but it is so huge.
My favourite bit of the day is we always have to get there early, and watching them file into the convention centres, because most people are dressed kind of normally, and then you have like Princess Leia or Yoshi from Super Mario, and then Darth Vader, and then they're all dressed, and it gets more and more surreal. And the cosplay, the dedication to cosplay, they have the confidence to walk from the station to the convention centre in their outfit. I would never have the confidence to do that, but they know once they get to convention they're going to have their people around them, and it's so beautiful. And then my favourite thing that's happened more recently, I haven't seen this really up until this year, is singing competitions. So they have cosplay singing karaoke competitions, and so you're signing your things and you hear like someone like wailing in the background like let it go, and it's like all of us are just signing away. We don't even flinch, because it's like it's so lovely to hear people just singing their songs that they love, and it's amazing.
It's such a beautiful like environment. And I've actually really recently got into this YouTuber called Jenny Nicholson, who's like a video essayer, and she does like these incredibly detailed videos about like normally quite niche topics, like about Disneyland theme parks. She's a sort of expert on the Star Wars hotel. Recently she did an incredible video on, she has this incredible video essay on why the Dear Evan Hansen movie was so bad. But my favorite,
the what?
The Dear Evan Hansen movie. So
the Dear Evan Hansen.
It was a Broadway musical, and then it became a movie. And I actually weirdly went to go see the West End version of the musical
without knowing it was about
without knowing that it was about grief, and this was really soon after Ben died, and I hated it so viscerally. I remember feeling like the messaging was so hollow, and like that it was very warped and very twisted. Plus I've just never been a fan of those like very spoken word musicals where I'm talking and then I'm gonna start singing a song. I just find them really embarrassing. But I remember hating it so much at the time, and everyone loving it, and I was just like, God, okay, I must just be really fucked up. And then this movie came out and it was totally panned, and Jenny does this incredible video essay on why it's so bad. That's how I discovered her, because it's just joyful as well. She talks about it in like a way that's not really nasty and mean. She just talks about like the funniness of the choices that these people have made, and it was just beautiful. But she did a video essay that I watched recently, probably about 3 times, about the brony fandom. Do you know what bronies are?
The little ponies.
Bronies are the male adult fans of My Little Pony, and it's this incredible video essay. I really recommend it highly, but it's really beautiful. She talks about the way that it turned into something quite toxic towards the end. I mean, like a community filled with like furries and, you know, people being kind of attracted to these like humanoid ponies and whatever. But what it starts out as is like a lot of confused young men on like a sort of incel 4chan forum thinking that they're going to watch this show that's just come out, the new My Little Pony show, and hate it. But it actually teaching them something kind of beautiful about love and friendship, and them all suddenly loving it and it becoming this huge community. She talked about like the rise of how this fandom became this huge commercial success. And these Comic-Cons, they would invite all of the people that have been involved in the show, whether they were voice actors or the producers or even somebody that had just worked one day on the show. They would be celebrities in this culture. It's this absolutely fascinating look into this world that just embraces people who maybe do feel on the sidelines. And I think that we can learn so much about society and the fringes of society today, maybe from fan culture.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Also, another recommendation is to watch this documentary on Netflix called The Life of Evelyn, which is about a boy who had a very severe disability, who lived a sort of alternate life in World of Warcraft that his family didn't know about. That is absolutely amazing.
It's amazing.
But
my funny story though from the convention is the star of it was Sebastian Stan, who I'd never heard of. And
even though you watched Pam and Tommy, you didn't realise it was Tommy.
I barely watched Pam and Tommy. That's true. Who could? And I didn't realise what he looked like, but I was having a chat in the morning with somebody about building, and I thought, oh, this must be Sebastian Stan because he's like very handsome and, you know, cool. So like I was quite thrilled. I was like, oh, I just had a chat about builders with Sebastian Stan, and I told Alfie, I was like, I just had a chat with Sebastian Stan.
And it was just some random guy.
It was an actor. It was an actor, but like not Sebastian Stan. And then later on in the day, I was trying to get back to the hotel, and my friend put me in the corridor and I thought my key card would work to go back in the hotel. Anyway, I ended up being trapped in a corridor, and it was a corridor that only you could get into really if you were part of the convention. So you were allowed to be in the, anyway, got quite panicked thinking I'm now trapped. But then as I went to the door, this man and a big bodyguard and another man started walking through, and I was like, oh good, thank you, I'm sorry, well I've been trapped in here. Can I please just follow you where I need to go to the lobby? And
what was their response to
and
that?
They were like, okay, sure, if you want. Like really, like thought I was obviously just this normal person that was like just like they kind of were quite wary of me. I think they thought I was like a super fan, and then I'd accidentally got into the corridor. So I ended up, and they were silent, they weren't chatting. So I ended up walking down this long, quiet corridor, following them, and they kept kind of like, the manager person kept kind of looking at me like slightly scared of me. And I was like, don't worry, I
mean, if you were going to write a character who was like a super fan, being able to disguise themselves and getting in a corridor with somebody like that, they would cost you. No, I mean, you couldn't look more perfect.
No, but the funny thing is, I was wearing my massive coat, my winter coat with the hood up because I was cold.
That wouldn't have helped. Having a big hood on.
So they thought, and then I had to go in the lift with them, and then I realised, oh, he's really super famous. That's obviously someone super famous. And he kind of looked at me as if to say, I'm super famous, I can't be talking to you. And I kind of went, don't worry, I promise I'm not stalking you. And they kind of didn't laugh. And then they were put into their big car, and the manager then said, well, take this lady to where she needs to go, to the bodyguard. And then the bodyguard kind of reluctantly then took me back to the hotel lobby. But then I Googled, I thought that might have been, so I Googled it, and sure enough, it was Sebastian Stan.
What did he look like in real life?
He looks like a teen still, but just an old teen.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, where they kind of feel preserved almost.
Yeah. He seemed nice. They're all Hollywood leading men actors are shorter than you think.
They're petite. They're all so petite.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a petite man, baby, boy, child, put him into the acting biz because he's going to do well.
Well, that's what we're going to try. You know, got to try with one. Got to try. Got to earn some money.
Do you think
puppies and child actors?
Yeah. What about Donnie? Do you think that you might let Donnie audition for the Harry Potter TV show?
Well, everyone. I mean, I think it's something that everyone is doing.
It's a similar thing to what we were talking about in the last episode with Margaret getting her ears pierced. Would you want to deny them the chance to like do something that everyone else is doing?
I think it's, I don't know, it's really, really sticky territory. You don't want to play with fire. And it's like no way in would I think that he would get the part, but at the same time, I don't want him to get the part.
It's true.
And that's where you've always got to be careful. You've got to think about, whenever you audition for anything, you've got to think about, do I actually want to go to this place and do this? And you've actually got to think about whether you want it too.
It's true. It's true.
Anyway, we've got to go. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. See you for our next episode and see you on Patreon.
And if you do have any dog recommendations for a family of 6 where the woman involved is terrified of dogs and hair, dog hair,
comment down below.
Comment.